I chose the topic of the cost of preventing pandemics. In this situation, I was described to be a public health official listening in on a conference given by a human population researcher. The researcher explains that urban areas will expand when people from rural areas migrate to urban areas as the human population grows. As urban populations start to permeate into new territory, they are exposed to the wild animals that were already inhabiting that territory, leading to an increased spread of new diseases to those populations. Following that introduction, the researcher describes two philosophies regarding the prevention of future pandemics: promoting the reduction of human population growth and developing a comprehensive infectious disease program. An advantage of promoting the reduction of human population growth is that a smaller population decreases the rate of urbanization, meaning less exposure to wild animals as urban areas expand. Additionally, if a pandemic did arise, less government funds would have to be directed to helping people who are affected if there is a smaller population, some examples being stimulus checks and federal funding towards healthcare. Also, a smaller population would mean less people overall would contract the disease, meaning less people could expose the disease to others. Disadvantages of this strategy is that there are no guarantees that efforts made to reduce the human population will be effective, and if efforts showed substantial results, the results could take an extended period of time to manifest, which by that point, a pandemic could have already started breaking out. Another disadvantage of this strategy is that despite a declining TFR or total fertility rate, because access to healthcare and overall quality of life continues to increase, the average human lifespan also continues to increase, meaning the population might not even see a decline overall if the birth rates are slowing. An advantage of starting a disease prevention program is that pandemics are almost inevitable despite certain protections put in place. Pandemics will tend to break out in underdeveloped countries and spread internationally by means of traveling, so attempting to decrease the population would not control this variable. Having a disease prevention program would increase the population's resistance to potential biological threats and focus on keeping them safe. Disadvantages of this strategy is that a disease prevention program would require a lot of funding, and although the government can help to enforce this program, it is widely up to the population affected by said program to take preventative measures to keep themselves and others safe. Given these two strategies, I made the decision to start a disease prevention program. The speaker then explains that eradicating viruses in animals is necessary before it can be contracted by humans, and that disease prevention must focus on a single strategy due to the financial limitations, which leads to the second decision: fund a pandemic surveillance education program, or start a prevention and treatment of disease program. An advantage of funding a pandemic surveillance education program includes having more information on viruses and diseases that could potentially allow more time to develop treatment options and allow for public safety measures. Disadvantages of funding a pandemic surveillance education program are that it would be more costly compared to a preventative program and would allow no health benefits towards people affected by the disease in the event of a pandemic. Advantages of starting a prevention and treatment of disease program are that it would be more cost effective, it would allow for people affected by the disease to be supported medically, and would give insight to the public on how to keep themselves and their loved ones safe. A disadvantage of this strategy is that it relies more on what actions are taken by the population, meaning if enough of the population chooses to ignore preventative measures, that the disease could become uncontrollable and continue infecting more people, not only becoming more dangerous, but requiring more funding. Given these two options, I chose to start a prevention and treatment of disease program. The conclusion of these decisions is that disease prevention and treatment is a broad topic that can and should be handled in distinct ways, and that the most effective response to pandemic diseases takes a combination of preventing and treating them.